Russia has increased its indiscriminate lobbing of missiles at residential buildings. Ukraine's state emergency services says at least 37 people were evacuated from the fire caused by the attack, while search and rescue efforts are underway.
The Russians have not been able to not even advance into the center of Kyiv. They have not taken some of the surrounding suburbs. And if anything, the Russians seem to be on their back foot in their positions around the city.
I believe strongly that if the Russian forces get bogged down, and they will from time to time, that Putin will authorize the use of chemical weapons. He's done it before.
We have serious concerns that Russia may be planning to use chemical or biological agents against the Ukrainian people.
Russian weapons of mass destruction, and now the fears are intensifying, and not just because Russian troops are stalled or bogged down. Hello, everybody. I'm David Shuster, and thanks for joining us. There are growing concerns that Russia's Vladimir Putin is about to ratchet up his pressure on Ukraine even more. The theory is that because Putin has already ordered his troops to terrorize Ukrainian civilians with indiscriminate missiles, bombs, and artillery fire, terrorizing Ukrainians with chemical or biological weapons would not be a stretch. And by many accounts, the moment of desperation for Putin is fast approaching. As reported in the Daily Mail, Putin's forces may only be able to keep up the fight for 14 days, U.S. and U.K. defense sources say, as increasingly desperate invaders launch more devastating strikes in Kyiv this morning. The Center for European Policy Analysis, a nonpartisan think tank, says the next 10 days will decide this war. Based on their military sources, the Russian troops are running out of supplies and manpower and only have a few more weeks when they can sustain their full fighting power. However, if Russia escalates and does go with WMD to try and get Ukraine to surrender, the chances of the United States and NATO becoming more involved also go way up. Morning Joe just spoke about the enormous public pressure that may confront the Biden administration.
Does the Biden administration understand that when Americans and Europeans see 5-year-old children choked to death by Putin's chemical weapons that we're going to have to go in? Do they understand that there is no holding back, that we're going to have to take a far more aggressive approach?
And if the United States does take a more aggressive approach and becomes more directly involved, that increases the chances of U.S. and Russian forces firing on one another. And once that happens, there is the potential for an escalation. As the UN Secretary General recently noted, a confrontation and escalation between nuclear powers could be catastrophic.
Raising the alert of Russian nuclear forces is a bone-chilling development. The prospect of nuclear conflict, once unthinkable, is now back within the realm of possibility.
So what should the United States do? Well, the Biden administration is already warning the Russians not to use any weapons of mass destruction. If the Russians use chemical and biological weapons anyway, expect that the United States would then put aircraft and missiles into the fight for Ukraine, with the understanding and the hope that the fight would stay there. Even if some Russian troops and U.S. troops end up killing each other, that's a far different order of magnitude of war than a nuclear exchange. But again, a very delicate and significant phase of this conflict has begun. And by most accounts, for Russia, Ukraine, and the world beyond, some crucial decisions are coming.